How's it going? Doing well, thanks. I'm David. Nice to meet you. Adam, it's a pleasure. What's your name? Thank you. Thank you for your service. And what's your name? Hi, Linda. I'm David. Nice to meet you. Yes, I am. For the break. You know, yeah, I didn't have anything else to do. And honestly, yeah, and everybody else is already at Temple doing work, so might as well join in and do my own thing. I just have grown up doing this, so I know how to do it. And yeah, pretty much. And did the teen band at my temple in choir and all that. Like worked as pastor with it for a while, so I was a song leader for a year. Mhm.
Just a second.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name's David. I'll be your substitute song leader for this evening. Let's get started. Hine ma tovu manai shevet ahim gam yahad. 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 Hine ma tovu manai shevet ahim gam yahad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening in person and online via our live stream. As David said, this is David Summer. He is joining us this evening as our song leader, filling in for Kenny, and we are thrilled to have you here with us. David grew up just up the road from here and is home on college spring break, so we are glad to have you here at Sukkot Shalom with us this evening. We welcome in Shabbat this evening in a brighter sanctuary than we've had in the past months. And we enjoy this new light that we have added to our day as we welcome in Shabbat. So tonight, as we enter into prayer together, I invite you to think about what brings you a sense of light in your life. We'll continue in joining together in the words of Hine ma tov on page 10. Please join with us.
Hine ma tovu manai shevet ahim gam yahad. 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 Hine ma tovu manai shevet ahim gam yahad.
We are taught to keep and remember Shabbat. It's one of the reasons why we light 2 candles on Shabbat. So we'll turn to page 2 and we'll light our Shabbat candles, adding a little bit more light to our world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechad likneh
just on below Hine Matov on page 10, you'll find Ma Yafeh Hayom. How beautiful is today, Shabbat Shalom.
Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We welcome in Shabbat with Kabbalat Shabbat, the receiving of Shabbat. And one of the images that we use, the symbols that we use in welcoming Shabbat, is the idea of Shabbat as the Sabbath bride or the Sabbath queen. And so we welcome in Shabbat as our Sabbath bride, page 20, L'chadodi.
We're just going to be doing verses 1, 2, and 9. Is that all right?
Perfect.
All right, cool. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. La 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 lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Shamor v'zahor b'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'liti la 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 dodi, Lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nacham, ki nikor habaracha merosh mikadem nizucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat la 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 lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Please rise. Please rise. And do you turn around and everything? Okay. Bori v'shalom atzeret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'solam, toch emunei am segula. Bori kala, bori kala, la 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 lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha likrat kala, b'nei b'nei Shabbat mekabela.
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 28. We are called together as one community in prayer and worship with the words of the Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you
You may be seated. We'll read together on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We move from our evening prayer, thanking God for the creation of day and night, and we move to words that come from our Torah. This melody, in fact, was written by a congregation up the road, Am Shalom, by a group of students that David was a part of. And we've been using this melody now for many years. So when Dave and I were talking about services the other day, I said, we do the Am Shalom Shema. And so we're going to do that tonight. You might not know it as the Am Shalom Shema. You might know it as the Sukkot Shalom Shema. But we'll sing this hopefully familiar melody together, page 34.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai,
Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai,
Adonai Echad.
Yadonai, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. Yadonai, Yadonai,
We'll continue with an English interpretation of the Ve'ahavta on the top of page 37. Love every God with your heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for your God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. We are in the season of Passover. We are approaching Passover in just a couple of weeks, and we are reminded every week during our liturgy, every day, in fact, during our liturgy, of one of our origin stories, the story of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt. We'll turn to page 40, where we find the words of Mi Chamocha, our song of hope, redemption, and freedom.
Sefer
On page 42, we find the words of Hashgimenu, what I often like to describe as our people's lullaby, the prayer that we say in the evening where we ask God for protection of a shelter of peace, a Sukkot Shalom, spread over us and over the entire world.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu mamreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor zeiteinu uvoeinu lehaim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
The Amidah is our pinnacle moment of our Shabbat evening liturgy. It's interesting that the Amidah, the section that contains 7 blessings of prayer and thanksgiving on Shabbat, is this climactic moment in our liturgy. It's in fact the moment where we have an opportunity to pray on our own amidst this bigger part of the service. And we have all of these communal prayers, and then we have this moment for self-reflection, for prayers that come from our own hearts. So we'll rise together as one community as we offer these 7 benedictions of praise and thanksgiving on Shabbat. We won't do all of them together, but I invite you as we engage in our Amidah to think of your own 7 blessings, your own blessings of praise and thanksgiving that you would like to offer this evening. Please rise in body or spirit, page 46. We'll chant Avot V'Imahot on page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Ha'akol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi geula lifnei b'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer Moshiach u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah. We'll turn to page 52 in the middle of the page. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. You may be seated. We'll turn to the top of page 55. We'll read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. We'll pause now for a moment of your own private reflection and prayer. We'll join together again on page 62. The bottom of page 62, Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace.
Oseh Shalom Imoma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imu,
It's taught that when we are in need of healing, in the ancient days that those who were sick would actually dwell outside of the gates of the city. And it was taught that those who were considered healers in the community would go outside the gates and provide care to those who were sick and those who were ill. And when they were feeling better, they would be invited back in from beyond the gates. And so tonight, we pray for anyone who feels that right now they are beyond the gates in any way, whether it's a physical or emotional or mental illness. We pray for anyone who is in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the minds, healing of the spirits. We'll turn to page 253 and offer the words of the Misha Berach.
Leimo who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misherea imotenu mekor habraha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So, in about 2 weeks, we will begin the holiday of Passover. We'll gather around our tables, engaging in the rituals of the Passover Seder, eating matzah, maror, bitter herbs, dipping our parsley twice in salt water, and of course, finding the afikomet, the piece of the broken matzah that we hide to find after dinner. Depending on your family's customs, you might painstakingly, or maybe even joyfully, take turns reading through all of the pages of the Haggadah. Or maybe you go through the greatest hits, or maybe in your family, Passover is more of an experience of dinner rather than Seder. No matter how extensive your Seder is, most have one common theme or item in common: matzah. According to the Torah, the Passover festival is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last night at Sukkot Shalom, we held a women's Passover experience where 40 women gathered together to engage in some Passover rituals and some powerful storytelling. And last night, I shared a brief teaching on matzah. And it kind of sparked my interest a little bit in exploring further the meaning of yachatz, or breaking of the middle matzah. Yachatz means to divide or to break in half. And before we ever eat the matzah during our Seder on Passover, we take out the middle piece of matzah and we break it in half. And we save the bigger half, we put it in a napkin, and that becomes the afikomen that we hide and save to find later at the end of our Seder. And the other piece we keep with us at the Seder table. The breaking of the middle matzah is a ritual moment in the Seder that doesn't require a blessing. A lot of the other rituals that we do at our Passover Seder require blessings. But the blessing for the matzah doesn't happen during the breaking of the matzah. We actually recite 2 blessings later on. One, the same blessing that we recite for eating challah, or bread, and the other is around eating the matzah itself. There are many interpretations of this ritual of yachatz. Why do we break the middle matzah? What does it mean? And what does this ritual provide us? So in a 19th century commentary on the Haggadah, there's 4 explanations given around yachatz, the breaking of the middle matzah. One is limits. It's thought that this interpretation is theological, that there was, the 10th plague occurred in the middle of the night. And so we break the matzah into 2 probably unequal pieces because the Torah says it would be at about midnight that the Israelites would escape from Egypt. So the idea that the people didn't know exactly when the Exodus would happen, only God knew exactly when it would happen. So it was a reminder of the limitations of people in this story of the Exodus from Egypt. The second idea or explanation is memory, and this is considered historical. And this idea is that the broken piece of matzah is a reminder that God split the sea. And so the sea was likely not split into two equal parts. So we break the matzah into two unequal parts. And this represents the historical reminders of Passover. The third explanation is around promises. And this idea is that originally in the book of Genesis, it mentions this idea that the people of Israel might be enslaved for 400 years. The reality is that according to the text, the enslavement in Egypt happens for less than 400 years. And so the smaller piece is a representation of the slavery that was less than what was stated earlier on in the book of Genesis. And God made certain that these number of years in slavery were less than what was expected. The fourth explanation is change. This idea that yachatz, which comes from the word like chatzi, meaning half, is that a celebration is divided on Passover between God and a person's physical comforts and celebrations and such. So the larger portion of the matzah, the broken matzah, is meant to represent the commandment to rejoice on festivals, which is represented by the afikomen, and the idea that the afikomen is hidden. So oftentimes our reward is maybe hidden, is something that we don't discover maybe until a long time into the future. And so it focuses on this idea of spiritual transformation through the beginning parts of the Seder until that moment where you find your reward, the afikomen, at the end. Well, I think all of those four explanations are quite fascinating and quite interesting, and maybe those are something that you can bring out at your Passover Seder this year to describe this breaking of the middle matzah. I'd like to offer a little bit of a different or an additional interpretation of the breaking of the middle matzah. I would like to interpret that we break the middle matzah as a sign of our own individual and collective and communal brokenness. The great sage Rashi taught that we say a blessing over both the whole piece of matzah that are on our table and the broken piece of matzah. The blessing that we say over the bread is the blessing we say over a whole piece of matzah. The blessing of eating, physically eating the matzah, is what we say over the broken piece of matzah. And so it's this idea that even our brokenness, even those things which we may want to hide potentially or cover up, are worth blessings. And as you've heard me teach before, there are aspects of each of us that are broken. And our broken pieces help to make up our whole. On Passover, the broken pieces and the whole pieces of matzah exist together. And they're a reminder that on this holiday, where we celebrate freedom, that we hold both of these aspects of slavery and freedom together. Our broken parts are part of the larger whole of who we are. And on Passover, we hold both these broken pieces and whole pieces of matzah together, reminding ourselves that each part makes up the whole of who we are individually and collectively. Even as we experience these moments of brokenness throughout our lives and throughout our history, of loss, of slavery, of pain, we too can embrace these moments of freedom, of hope, of redemption. And as we enter into this Passover season, I pray that as we, each of us, break the middle matzah at our Passover Seder. We embrace what is broken and remember that wholeness and brokenness can exist side by side. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We turn now to our concluding prayers of our worship on page 282. Please rise in body or spirit. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gdula liotzer breshit, shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo begavhei meromim, hu Eloheinu ein od, v'anachnu korim, Umishachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamnachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 287. V'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Tonight, the Sukkot Shalom community remembers Gino Leo, Ina Rosenbaum, Myron Cohen, Mort Levin, Barry Shore, Carl Krieger, Fred Schwartz, Samuel Brow, Joseph Schonthal, Ali Mushin, Robert Weinberg, Dr. Mark Ruderman, Priscilla Dickman, Philip Solomon, Sanford Galat, Charles Sonnenborg III, Elaine Shevsky. Are there any other names that you would like to recall this evening? We'll turn to page 294 as we recite together the words of Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam u'mei alamaya, Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramav v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalel shmei d'kudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, dam yiram v'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, v'ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be an abiding blessing. You may be seated. Just a few words of announcement. First of all, thank you so much to David for helping to lead our service this evening. Thank you for adding your music and your voice to make our Shabbat joyful and special. A reminder that next week we have our choir Shabbat as well as dinner after services as well, so we hope you will join us for that. And then on the weekend of May 5th through 7th is going to be my farewell celebration, although I'm not officially leaving until mid-June. But please join us for a chance to celebrate. I would love to celebrate with all of you. We will conclude our service with singing of Shabbat Shalom, and then we hope you'll join us in the foyer for Kiddush and Motzi and a little Nash.
Yalla, 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 yalla.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for
Shabbat
joining
shalom.
us.